Welcome to Ham Radio Digital Diary, and we are today going to have a go at this foundation mock paper that the RSGB have on their website. The answers are at the end. I haven't looked at them. I'm going to write down what we answer, and then I'll tell you if I pass. And the pass is 19 out of 26. So let's give it a go. So let's start off with number 1. Which of the items listed below is not a type of amateur license? Intermediate, B foundation, C beginner, and D full. So I would say C beginner. So number 1 is C. Number 2. When transmitting, you must give your call sign when establishing contact at least every 5 minutes. B, when establishing contact as frequently as practicable. C, during CQ calls and at the beginning and end of contact. D, at the beginning and end of contact. So I would say B, when establishing contact as frequently as is practicable. So number 2, we're going to put down B. Number 3. You are talking to M3ABC by amateur radio and friends enter his room. You may also address remarks to those friends. Say that again. You are talking to M3BAC by amateur radio, right? And friends enter his room. You may also address remarks to these friends if they are family members, if M3ABC gives permission, if they are also amateurs, but only on the calling channel. Just drop my pen. So, I would say B, if M3ABC gives permission. So 3 is B. Number 4. When must you carry out tests on your station to ensure that it is not causing undue interference to other radio users? If you receive a complaint from a neighbour from time to time, every week, when the warranty expires on your transceiver. So I would say B, from time to time. Number 5. Right, on which of the frequencies below may a foundation licensee transmit? So I haven't got my chart with me, and they do provide a chart for this. So I'm going to have to guess without properly checking. So may a foundation licensee transmit? So it's a tough one, that. The only one that I think it could be is 21.5. Top band. Well, you got A top band there, 1.8, but I can't remember where the edge of that is. So I'm only guessing. So I'm gonna say 1.825, which is A. But if you're doing the exam, you will have a chart to look at. Which part of amateur band is not permitted with 100 kilometers of Charing Cross, London? So I know it's 70 centimeters. So you've got A, B, 51, C, and D, 438 to 440. So it's either C or D. 431 to 432. Yeah, I'm going to go with D. Number 6 is D. 438 to 440. But it's one or the other. Number 7. Which of the following is a good conductor of an electric current? A, rubber, B, plastic, C, glass, and D, aluminium. Yeah, well, it's definitely D, isn't it? So D. So question 7 is a D. Question 8. The frequency 50 megahertz is low frequency, high frequency, VHF, UHF. So I'm pretty sure it's HF. It's a good question. I always think of 80 meters and 40 meters, so that's 6 meters. So I'm going to go for I'm going to go for B on number 8. But I could be wrong. 8. Number 9. An analog to digital converter, an ADC, yeah, represents a digital signal in analog format, A. B. Samples an analog signal and creates a digital representation of it. Modulates the audio input, is an optional component in a software-defined radio. So these questions were in the foundation when I took mine many moons ago. So it's analog to digital converter, samples an analog signal and creates a digital representation of it. Represents a digital signal in analog format. See how close they are? Represents a digital signal in analog format, but it's actually about a converter. Samples an analog digital signal and creates a digital representation of it. I would say B. So number 9 is B. Number 10. When radio frequencies are mixed with audio frequencies, the new frequencies that are generated are called A. fundamentals, B. harmonics, C. sidebands, and D. carriers. So we're on question 10. When radio frequencies are mixed with audio frequencies, the new frequencies that are generated are called, it's definitely not harmonics. It's not sideband, is it? That's half the frequency. Fundamentals or carriers. I'm going to say carriers. So D. Number 10 is D. Number 11. Rf Power Amplifier takes the signal from the microphone and amplifies it to a suitable level. Amplifies the modulated signal to suitable level to feed the antenna. Converts the main supply to a suitable voltage to be used by the transmitter. Ensures that the transmitter is radiating on the correct frequency. So I would say B. Amplifies the modulated signal to suitable level to feed the antenna. B is on 11. Number 12. It's been a while since I've done this. Many hams wouldn't have done this for years. They got licensed, in the 70s. In a software-defined radio, demodulation is carried out by a product detector, frequency discriminator, balance modulator, or a mathematical process? That's a good question. In a software-defined radio, it's carried out by I'd say mathematical process because it's software-defined. So I'm going to go 12D. 13. Loss in feed increases with the transmit power, length of cable, lower transmit frequencies, higher gain antennas. I would say the length of the cable is because it's the heat. You're losing heat, aren't you? So that's B. 13 is B. 14. The gain of an antenna is measured in watts, volts, amps, decibels. So I'd say decibels. So D. 14D. 15. An amateur changes the frequency band she is operating on, but does not check if the antenna is still matched. This might cause damage to the transmitter, distortion of the transmitted signal, antenna overload, and interference to be caused on other bands. Well, that's an interesting question. So an amateur changes the frequency band she is operating on, but does not check if the antenna is still matched. She is operating on. I'm assuming that the word operating is transmitting. Because if you're operating, does that actually necessarily mean you're transmitting? So, damage to the transmitter, distortion of the transmitted signal, antenna overloaded, interference to be caused on other bands. An amateur changes the frequency band he or she is operating on, but does not check if the antenna is still matched. This might cause... So, if your antenna is not matched and you're transmitting, it could damage the transmitter. Distortion of the transmitted signal. Well, I suppose it doesn't... Does it distort the transmitted signal? It's a funny one. Because it could, if it's unbalanced, then you think it could bleed onto another frequency, almost like if you overmodulate. Antenna overloading, well, that's down to power. Interference to be caused on other bands. Well, I would say, yeah, that definitely could happen. But does not check there. I'm just going to go for A. Damage to the transmitter on 15, but I think it actually could be D as well, but I'm gonna pencil that in as a maybe. 16. Snow, ice and rain have the most detrimental effect on which frequency range? Well, that's a funny question. Snow, ice and rain. And it's a detrimental effect. Well, I'm going to go for HF, but it's a bit of a guess, to be honest. I mean, with VHF, UHF, when the weather's all snowy and icy, you get the ducting, don't you? So... I'm going to go for HFB on let's get it right. HFB on question 17. Now, what did I put for 16? Because my list is blank. We missed 16. The lowest layer of the ionosphere is at a height of about 107700. I actually don't know that. I'd have to look that up, so I don't know the answer to that, so there's no point me answering it if I definitely don't know it. I know what the ionosphere does. Yeah, I definitely don't know that answer, so 16 I don't know. 17 I'm going to go with B. So 18, electromagnetic compatibility, EMC means compatibility. The antenna is properly matched to the transmitter. The avoidance of interference between electronic equipment. Ensuring electronic equipment generates small electromagnetic fields. A microphone will work properly when connected to a transmitter. So I'm going to go with B. The avoidance of interference between electronic equipment. So B on 18. 19. When installing a transceiver in a motor vehicle, care must be taken to ensure the antenna is mounted as far away from the fuel filter as possible. The system will not interfere with the vehicle electrical and management systems. You ensure the equipment against theft. The transceiver controls cannot be changed whilst the car is moving. Yeah. See, again, you've got answers here, which 3 of them look good. Far away from the fuel filter. I get why they're saying that. System, we're not interfere with the vehicle, electrical and management systems. I'm going to go with that. You insure the equipment against theft. Well, that doesn't really matter. The transceivers cannot be changed whilst in the car. Well, you shouldn't do that. But when the car's not moving, you want it in a convenient location when you're parked. So I'm going to go with B on 19. 20. See, this would have been, I think this would have been a harder exam compared to the last one. Advice on dealing with EMC and interference is available from council, police, RSGB, or the Citizens Advice Bureau. So I'd say C on 20, which is the RSGB. 21. The correct phonetic spelling of signal is, alright, well, yeah, it looks to me, I mean, most of us have learnt this from years ago. I'd say it's C. Sierra, India, Golf, November, Alpha, Lima. Sounds about right. So C on 21. 22. A bad setup transmitter operating on 50 megahertz is also rating on 150.3 megahertz. Which service might be affected? 150, isn't that maritime? Sure it is. So I'm going to go with 22 is D. Now you might get a chart to look up the frequency and see what it's on in the exam. 23. You are having a contact QSO with another amateur and he reports your signal as 5 and 5. This means that he is reading your transmission as excellent audio, very strong signal strength. Average audio, very strong signal strength. Excellent audio with an average signal strength. Yeah, I'm going to go with A. No, actually, we say 5 and 9, don't we? So there's going to be a chart for what is recommended for the different numbers, and that will be in the booklet. I haven't got that in front of me. So it could be excellent audio with an average signal strength. It's probably the one I'm going to go with if I go by 5 and 9 and 5 and 5. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. So that would be C. 23 is C. 24. A residual current circuit breaker with an overcurrent protection, RCBO, will stop mains power in a circuit. Yeah. Only when there is a current leakage to earth above its leakage threshold. Only when there is an excessive current in the circuit above the current threshold. When there is both earth leakage and excessive current above the device threshold. When there is either earth leakage or excessive current above the device threshold. So yeah, it's quite a confusing one, but I know that it detects earth, you know, a current going to earth over, and it's quite a small amount. It's like 0.3 milliwatts. Only when there is a current leakage to earth above its leakage threshold. Yeah, probably A. Only when there is excessive current in the circuit above. It's definitely to do with earth. So how many say earth? When there is both earth leakage and excessive current above the device threshold. I'm going to go with A. 24 is A. 25. Soldering workstation. Require an emergency cut-off. Should be well ventilated. Must be anti-static. Service must be earthed. I'd say I'm going to go with the B. Should be well ventilated to avoid inhaling fumes. So B. So 25 is B, and then 26. Using excessive volume when wearing headphones can result in complaints from neighbours about the noise, damage to your transmitter, overloading receiver, damage to your hearing. So D. 26 is D. So they've ended it on quite an easy one. Right, go down further, and we're gonna, what we'll do, we'll tick the ones we got right, and then we'll go back to the ones we got wrong. So number 1 is C, that's correct. Number 2 is B, correct. 3 was C, so we got that one wrong. 4 is B, correct. 5 is A, correct. 6 is C, so we got that one wrong. 7 is D, correct. 8 is C, and we put B. 9 is B, correct. 10 C, got that one wrong. Oh my god, we're going to fail badly. 11 is B, correct. 12 D, correct. 13 B, correct. 14 D, correct. 15 is, we've got A. Yeah, correct. 16 we didn't answer, I remember that, so it's actually C. We'll re-look at that. 17 B, so we got that wrong. Yeah, because it's meant to be D. 18 B, correct. 19 B, correct. 20 C, correct. 21 C, correct. 22 we put D, but it's actually let's get it right. 22 is D, and we put C. Yeah, so it should be C. 23 is C, we got that right. 24 is D, so we got that one wrong. I think we failed badly. 25B, and yeah, we got the last two correct. So let's count how many we did get right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Let's count that again. I think we actually failed by 1. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we got 18 out of 26, and you need 19 to pass. And one question we didn't even answer, so maybe we should have guessed. So that's fine. So let's have a quick look at the ones we got wrong. So we'll go back to question 3. Now the one we got wrong, the first one we got wrong was number 3 was we put B if M3 gives permission. Oh yeah, if they've got friends in the room, but the actual answer is C, if they also are amateurs. So there's your answer. Yeah. So they have to be amateurs. Okay. And 6. Oh yeah, I didn't have the band plan, did I? So 6 was actually C, 431 to 0.432, not D. So can you see how they're quite similar answers? But if you had a band plan in the exam, you would have been able to look that up, and that would have got you passed, because we were only 1 out from passing, weren't we? Number 9, we put down B, an analog to digital converter, ADC. And we put down B, and it's actually C. Analog, so it modulates the audio input. Oh, well, that doesn't make sense, does it? Because it's an analog to digital converter. Number 9, samples an analog signal and creates a digital representation of it. It's an analog to digital question. So that doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I looked that up wrong. Number 9 is... Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. No, we did get that one right. Sorry. Number 8. The frequency 50 megahertz is C. So yeah, 6 meters is basically VHF. Yeah, and I should know that, but so that should have been C. So if we knew that, but again, I'm pretty sure you would have a chart in the exam for this. So you'd probably be able to look that one up, and that would have got you through. So the other one we got wrong was 10. D. We put down D. When radio frequencies are mixed with the audio frequencies, the new frequencies that are generated are called... And the correct answer is C. Sidebands. There you go. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Well, I should have known that. So now you know. Remember that when radio frequencies are mixed with audio frequencies, the new frequencies that are generated are called sidebands. Okay. The next one we got wrong was 16. Oh, I didn't have a chart. Well, actually, I don't know if I would have remembered that. So it's the height of the ionosphere, which is actually 16. The real answer is C. It's 70 kilometers. So try and remember that. The lowest layer of the ionosphere is at a height of 70 kilometers. 70 kilometers. So try and remember that. That'll be an extra one for you. And 22. A badly set up transmitter operating on 50 megs is also radiating on 150. Which service might be affected? I put down maritime. But it says here that the answer was C. So it's radio astronomy. And then the last one is that I got wrong was 23. No. 24. 24. A residual current circuit breaker with overcurrent protection will stop the mains power circuit, and the correct answer is A. Only when there is a current leakage to earth above its leakage threshold. Oh. Well, that's what I put. 24A. So that's a tick. So that's fine then. That means I passed. That's an extra tick, which means I did pass. Here's the proof. So if I include that tick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I passed. Anyway, I hope this helps. Please subscribe. I'm going to do a few more. I might do some actual studying on just the foundation and put that on as well, just for fun. But I need to get some good photographs together of certain things we need to remember. So 7-3, all the best. Cheers.